And welcome everyone. Roll call, Diane.
Mr. Douglas?
Here.
Mr. Barber?
Here.
I believe Mr. Bruno is probably excused
And
tonight.
so is Bob.
And Mr. Gwyneth is excused. And Mr. Irwin?
Here.
Mr. Farrell, our highway superintendent. Mr. Tadro, our water and sewer superintendent. Ms. Barber, our confidential secretary to the board. Our attorney, Mr. Favreau. Our historian, Helen Esca. And our supervisor, Mr. McDonald.
Diane Miller's here. And yes, but I guess to turn into something on the agenda in a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will move right forward. Community input, or no, actually approval of the town minutes of August 8th. I need a motion and a second.
I'll make it.
Rick and Jim Douglas. Any discussion? Good, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I believe community input's empty, right? Yeah, there's nobody on it.
Anyone want to speak for community input before we start? Once, twice, okay. I need a motion, or actually, is that happening, number, is this happening yet, or we don't know yet for sure?
We don't know yet for sure.
Okay, so let's table number 6 then.
Okay.
Need a motion to table number 6?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Nell made the motion and second by Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
That is tabled until we know for sure.
Yep.
Okay. Number 7, I need a motion and a second to pass a local law to exceed, if, this is only if there's a thought that we have to exceed the tax cap. We have to put this in place now. If we don't need it, we just don't need it. If we do, we have it in place. If you don't put it in place, you can't go back to it.
Yep.
So I need a motion and a second to put it in place to pass the local law not to exceed the tax cap.
I'll make it.
Yep, Rick,
I'll second.
Nell, and then we need to set a public hearing date. Want to do it next month, second meeting? Plenty of time.
Yep.
So let's go with the 26th of September. That'll give us way more, enough time, right, a month to get everything out there.
We put the budget in by the 15th of November, we'll do
By
it right
45?
away. And we'll do it right away? So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we set a public hearing. I need a motion and a second to set the public hearing for 5:45 on September 26th.
I'll make the motion.
Rick,
Second.
Jim, 5:45 on September 26th. All in favor?
Aye.
And like I said, that's only to put it in place. Not saying that we were gonna need it, but have it there just in case. Be safe than sorry. Number 8, resolution discussion, award the salt lime sprayer. Bid opening was today at 10 o'clock. Me and Mike, Diane, and Pam was here today. We only had the one. Mike, do you want to say anything about it?
Yep, it was Granite State, de-icing company out of New Hampshire, was the bidder. And the price was $25,550. That's a 1,900 gallon tank with sprayer. We bid an option for a hydraulic pump. I took that out because we want to get out of the gas pump. We can just slide the unit out. If the truck's broke down or something happens, we can slide in another truck. It's plug and play. And where the hydraulics, all the trucks are a little bit different. We have to have fittings. And in the long run, if your new truck wasn't going to break down, that would probably be the way. But it's a $1,500 option, so we'll just do this.
That was just one bid.
There's only one bid came in today.
Yeah.
One bidder only. So,
Question for Mike. It's a gas pump. If it's not pumping, does it go in bypass so it doesn't overpressure the system? How does that work?
with you, I honestly can't give you an answer.
Okay, because it's gotta go somewhere. If it goes in the bypass, I can understand, then if you're just gonna
You know, there's,
turn it on.
it's plug and play, and you'll know what you have left in. There's actually a hose, well, you can see it. And then, it's gonna take, well, it's 4,200 gallons roughly through the town. So you're gonna make 2 trips, at least.
But if, for instance, if they go on Jenkins Street, and go down North Bend, and they come out on the state road, you're not gonna be spraying on the state road. So
No,
So you
you can shut it off from the cap, you don't have.
can?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's all control from the cap.
okay. All right,
Look at those.
yep,
Good?
I'm good.
Okay, resolution for that.
A resolution to purchase salt brine applicator equipment from Granite State De-icing Supply as per bid results of August 22nd at 10 a.m. by the Town of Peru Highway Department. Whereas the Town of Peru Town Board has found a need to purchase a salt brine applicator sprayer for the highway to more efficiently and better maintain the roads during the winter and also help achieve reduced road salt use in the Adirondacks. The Town Highway Department received bids at 10 a.m. on August 22nd, 2022, and the resulting bid of $25,550, including shipping. Whereas the Town Board and the Highway Department Superintendent have determined that the new salt brine application system would enable the town to provide a continued level of quality service to the town's residents at a reasonable price. Now it is resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to sign all paperwork to execute this purchase as soon as possible.
Mr. Barber?
We have a motion and a second.
It's roll call now, resolution. That was
Oh, we
to
need a
get
motion.
Somebody make a motion on it.
We need to make a motion. Thank you, Rick. We need a motion.
Oh, that's right, you do want the discussion right now.
I just wanted to ask a
So-
question.
Wait till there's a. I need a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion.
Thank
Rick
you.
made a motion. By Mel, now we can do.
Roll call, Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Barber,
Yes.
Mr. Irwin,
Yes.
and Mr. McDonald.
Yes. So Rick, you wait until you get a motion in a second before you start asking questions. Now you'll be like Bruno and Bob tonight.
I can now, whoever asked the question about the resolution has to read it.
And there you go. Okay. Number 9, this is going to be according to a resolution for a proposal for aluminum removal of the Backwash Lagoon at the Peru water filtration plant. Courtney, explain this or just?
We've been dealing with it for a few years. DEC has set us a limit on our backwash water, aluminum limit, and every so often we're over it. So they're after us to figure out why. So this is, we've already had AES working on it. This is extending it to try to come up with what we need to do to correct it. It's a byproduct from our coagulation chemical that we use to filter the water.
Any questions, anyone?
Evaluation with recommendations to follow.
Yeah, on how to correct it.
I need a motion and a second for the resolution. Jim Douglas,
I'll second.
Mel, resolution,
And nobody's got questions.
no, he's got that done first.
A resolution accepting the AES Northeast proposal number P2022047 to evaluate aluminum removal in the backwash lagoons at the town of Peru's water filtration plant and authorizing the supervisor to execute the same. Whereas the town board has the AES Northeast proposal to evaluate aluminum removal in the backwash lagoons at the water filtration plant and the lady that is before it, therefore be it resolved, said proposal from AES Northeast is approved for contract issuance for the cost not to exceed $6,100, and the town supervisor is authorized to accept said proposal. And be it resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Mr. Barber,
Yes.
Mr. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Irwin,
Yes.
and Mr. McDonald.
Yes. Okay, moving right along. Number 10, I need a, I don't know if it's a motion in a second, but we put on for discussion. I got, last week before, I got a report from the county planning. Glenn Cutter called me up probably 3 or 4 months ago before we started building the gazebo, and I just told him where it was going, or the thing over that Rick did for the concerts. And so shortly after that, they got a call, and somebody wanted somebody to check up and see if we were in the flood zone, obviously by a resident that had a problem with us building it down there. So we did get the letter back, they did inspect it on July 27th, 2022, and obviously we got a nice letter saying that there's nothing that we have done in violation or anything, the inspection went great and everything else, so everything we've done, everything we've talked to them about, we've done according to what we needed to do with the floods.
Temporary stage went through, all right?
Everything went through, they have pictures of it and everything, they took pictures here with the stage in the back, it says looking out onto our table. They took pictures of the netting, they took pictures of the dog park, and they said they have a letter here stating that there's no violation. So,
I will tell you that I looked at the map that we were given by Adele. If this had been put where it originally was proposed,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have passed.
yeah. Yeah, so, but like I said, I talked to Glenn before this, and he said you guys should be good on that. Then obviously they got a call by someone they called, probably our code officer, same person, and called the county, but we are good, so that's all that matters. Okay, so, county. Number 11, moving right along.
You're inside.
So we need a motion and a second to accept resignation for water sewer department, Christopher Malin. We need a motion and a second to accept that.
Regretfully making a motion.
Mel?
Second.
Second by Rick.
A resolution accepting the resignation of Christopher Malin from the Town Crew Water Sewer Department wastewater maintenance worker, one position effective September 2nd, 2022. Whereas Christopher Malin has recommended the town board accept his resignation from a wastewater maintenance worker one for the Peru Water and Sewer Department, offered August 17th, 2022, and effective September 2nd, 2022. Therefore be resolved, the Peru Town Board agrees with the recommendation of Christopher Malin to accept his resignation and thanks him for the past service to the town of Peru. His resignation will be effective September 2nd, 2022, and be resolved, this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
And Mr. McDonald?
Yes. We do have a nice letter behind that, stating it's for no reasons that he's leaving other than obviously was offered a lot more in the city. It doesn't say in that letter, but we know that. Yep. Okay. Number 12, I need a motion and a second to hire intern recreation director Christine Marino.
I'll make it.
Jim Douglas
I'll second.
and Mel. Resolution.
I'm just reading, President, what's the intent of the third whereas paragraph? It says, town board decided to hire Kristen Marino on a monthly salary of $1,864.83 on an interim basis until the youth soccer season is completed or until the board deems necessary for a period beginning August 22nd, 2022. So are we hiring Mrs. Marino for the soccer season or until we find a permanent youth director? What's the goal? Because that paragraph's a little wishy-washy.
The way that we talked was that we hired her we're gonna
Is
take
this
it, that's
okay.
Miss Marine, yeah, this is Matt Dotto, that we talked to her, Mel and I, and we hired her to get us through the soccer season. When it's done and the youth is done, then we're gonna post it, we have to post the position.
So why don't we just say that we're hiring Kristen Marino on an interim basis until a permanent youth director is hired?
Because that could be January or whatever, so that's why I put deems necessary, because
What do you think? Where's the attorney?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, until the board deems necessary, so what, so.
Well,
is
I
that-
guess, Matt, that my feeling, and Mel correct me or any of you guys correct me, is that until we advertise it, we hire somebody, there definitely probably is some stuff that's coming in that the youth director will have to handle, so that's why we.
Wait, that's what I'm getting at, so I would say hire an interim and just word it until the permanent position is filled, so it could be.
that's,
Could be, yeah.
see, that's not what I understood you to say.
Okay,
That's
I'm
why I
sorry,
put
yeah.
as deems
Is that your
necessary.
understanding of the interim role would be, you'd be in that position until a permanent role is filled, either made by you, I don't know, or somebody else?
I don't think you can say until the end of the fiscal year, because
Right.
it's a different type of year.
And you want, like, if you say the end of the soccer season, then that might leave you a gap between that and when another season starts, and that might be when you need somebody.
Right, that was my point.
So basically you're
So
hiring-
sorry.
Okay.
The plan is to hire Kristen until a permanent hire is made. So she's an interim youth director until a permanent hire is made, and that could be whenever the town posts it, hire somebody they want.
Correct.
And it can be posted at any time or advertised at any time, Matt?
That's up to the board, yeah, because,
Okay.
yeah, whatever. So is that everybody's understanding of that?
Yep, so
Are
we're,
you comfortable
worded
with
that.
that designation? So let me see if I
Because
can.
like, you know, there is business that goes on after.
Town board says hire Richmond on an interim basis
Sorry.
until. Until. Until the youth director position is filled on a permanent basis. The youth director, is that right?
I guess I assumed that like the first part of the year. I'm sorry, that's
No,
not
that's
what I
right.
understood you to say.
Yeah.
No, this is, I think what you got in here kind of did the same thing. I think just makes it a little bit cleaner so that everybody, at least on paper, I think if somebody from the public came in and looked at this, at least on paper, it's cleaner, I think, for both sides, for understanding. But I think your wording got us there too, just with extra words.
I mean,
That's why I use the
I
word.
never have any extra words.
Sam, that's why I use the word.
Jim, and,
I beg your pardon.
So I
Hey,
propose
all of
that,
you.
I propose that the last whereas paragraph reads, whereas the town board decided to hire Kristen Marino at a monthly salary of $1,864.83 on an interim basis until a full-time recreation director is hired. We don't say full-time, we say permanent.
Permanent, yeah.
Yeah, that keeps them more open.
Mrs. Marino, are you okay with that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
okay. so
Questions?
No,
Read the whole thing now.
All right.
You want to get it? You got it once.
We
right
did.
now. Right, right.
Yeah, that was, Jim and Mel made the motion.
A resolution authorizing the hiring of Kristen Marino as the interim recreation director for the town of Peru. Whereas the town board has agreed that a new recreation director is necessary for the effective service of the town of Peru following the recommendation of the town board. Whereas Kristen Marino has served as the assistant youth director for several years and was willing to take on the role of interim recreation director. Whereas the town board decided to hire Kristen Marino at a monthly salary of $1,864.83 on an interim basis until a permanent recreation director is hired. And be it resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Mr. Garber?
yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes. I think you take the position, right?
I will, most definitely.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you, Mel and Jim and everyone for meeting and getting this figured out, because soccer season, as we know, is right around the corner, and we'll be fun.
And
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Pam you'll communicate with Pam and she'll help you with the
So you'll have to fill out, I don't know, will we have to fill out new paperwork for her?
Yes.
Okay, as the recreation
Yeah,
director.
and then we get her the phone
Yeah.
in my office, and her, the fob, the key fob to get in.
There's 4 days.
Also, they will need to start with their background checks also, all the coaches. So I will send you that.
Perfect. So we have a coaches meeting on Wednesday.
Email.
And then we get set up an email too.
Yep.
And the computer.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you.
And feel free to reach out to me with any questions or anything at all.
Right now, we are very well set. We have a coaches meeting on Wednesday, obviously. We've added teams. We've rearranged schedules. Everybody seems very happy. And I will keep you up to date.
Are you guys still, which I know it's a problem everywhere, it doesn't matter if it's Peru or it's county, are you guys still short a lot of coaches?
Not as bad as you would think. We've actually
Really?
convinced a couple of people that are more than willing because they're teaming with somebody else.
Yeah.
So they're gonna coach on more than one level, but we've moved dates so that there's no overlapping. So games will all take place on different days, so they'll only have to deal with, practices, but they can do that before the game, they can do it after, the other coach can run it. We've also maintained for parking because of it, because I know that's always been an issue with multiple. We're not doing an opening day, we're going to do a final day at the end of the season and give us a gap for our moving up ceremony, which I've already contacted
That's cool.
Diana about. Yep.
Good, awesome.
So,
Is there any kids, That's because we don't have enough coaches yet that are on the waiting list still?
We're very confident, we will have every kid off the waiting list and on a team.
That's awesome.
So,
That's good to
the
hear.
only thing is, we're having to add a mite team, so we'll have 10, which will be perfect, which means no team will have a bye date. So everybody will have a contest during each game day, and on the Pee Wee level, we'll just be adding to it. But we're manipulating around as far as, we know some kids do flag football and certain things, so that 18 on a bench is nothing when you've got 11 on a field and you've only got 15, 14 showing up. So there will be depth on the bench as well.
Thank you.
And on the basketball,
Basketball, we've contacted the county, we know, and this has been a thought process for quite some time now. Having the athletic director and knowing her as well as I do, she's actually approached us and said, what do you need for gym space? She's more than willing to work with us. We have Cracker Box, we've got primary. If we go through the county, then we have Saturdays, which means primary is available because they do volleyball in the high school. And since she knows what availabilities are where, and going through everything with Matt LaFave so that it's all set up, I already have keys to all of the basketball nets to put them up and down. I do have a coaching certificate. I've actually coached modified basketball, I've coached modified track, I've coached varsity track, and I've coached gymnastics. So
Good.
coaches will know if they're in the gyms where the AED machines are as well. I'm going to try and set something up with nurses so that if any of our coaches would like to take a CPR course, it would be like a $15 fee, but then they'd be certified for a year. That kind of puts us in a different spot. But I know the nursing staff at the school very well as well.
Awesome, thank you for that.
thank you.
Good, awesome. Any other questions? You have any questions? Good. Okay, moving on. Number 14, Courtney, update on Elm Street water problem.
It's not my problem.
Or Mike, I mean.
That's quite the pass up.
Let's actually do number 13 first, I skipped right over 13. Approve a Hayworth Mason Park use request. Number 13. The nursery school, Pam, they want to plant, is it for this one?
Peru Nursery School reached out to me to see if they could have the
All the
Trunk or
trunk or
treat.
treat thing, yep.
So I told her we would need the $50 fee and the insurance certificate if you guys approved it. And that weekend is open. And Clinton County Youth is using Hayworth Mason Park the previous weekend for a fun run that's Halloween related, I guess. And obviously that's part of the Clinton County, so I had asked you guys earlier, and we're going to waive that fee, but this one would still require the fee, I'm assuming?
Yes, because we start waiving this kind of private event, then we're gonna be in a boat with everybody asking. But yes, I have to agree with that. I mean, yes, it stinks to have to charge it, but at the same time, if we don't, it's a private event, we're gonna be in a,
You're gonna hear about it.
we're gonna hear about it, so, yeah.
Okay, so you guys are all approving this?
So I need a motion and a second to approve it.
Make it.
Jim Douglas, Rick second, all in favor? Aye. Yep.
It kind of stinks that we gotta charge.
Bob, the problem is if it ain't a county event or a public event, I mean, we set it and it's gotta be.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Number 14 now, Mike.
Elm Street, it's not gonna be so easy to solve. We had a job meeting, our weekly meetings with Buck Brothers here last week, and our engineer Peter Gibbs was here. So when we got done that, I ran him over to the school, showed him what's coming in, and what's going out and where it's going. It's obviously between the state and school, it cannot handle it. The state, I met with their foreman the week before, he just wanted me to hard pipe it, put a couple of catch basins in. Peter said no, because that, number one, it's gonna make the water move even faster, then you're gonna have a problem with the sand. I know we had talked about maybe trying to get an easement down through Medora's property. That is out, we didn't even approach them because that's just not the way to do it. Matt LaFave from the school did bring it up to the school board. They kind of just wrote it off, not their problem. I'm getting kind of the same thing from the state, even though it is all their problem. I checked with our tax guy. I didn't talk to him today because we had too much going on. He was looking, right now he hasn't found where the state's even got a easement to run the water down there. Because they got a catch basin and there's probably 100 feet of pipe, and then there's a break, and then it's been hard piped by the owner down there, plastic pipe, but where the state is dumping out, it's actually eating underneath the trees. So at some point, and then it's not gonna be long, it's gonna kick out and it's gonna hit that new house. It's just gonna eat its way. But Peter wanted a few days to think on it, because it's not gonna be an easy fix. I'm at the point, I don't know, I think Max, like I said, is gonna have to get involved in this. They're not gonna listen to me. I think it needs to come from down lawyer that something's gotta be done. They just reseeded that and they're gonna clean the pipes. They're gonna come jet the pipes and clean, which is gonna make the flow even better. And like I tried to tell the state guy, you seeded that, but it's not gonna do any good. Because if you look at just to the left of their inlet on that curve where they just, seeded it, the primary's got a 12-inch pipe that's coming out. That just, and it comes right out and hits, your bank like this, and the square, it's just gonna eat it. So the grass is not gonna grow. It may start, but when that flow comes, it's just gonna eat everything. And that's putting pipes. I did pull a catch basin, we moved the grate all over there. Tyler, myself, and Andrew, that catch basin that was up in the school driveway a little bit, that they kept having a sinkhole. It was an old catch basin buried where it had a metal plate on it, rotted. I got down in there, I took some pictures, and I ran it across the driveway, and there is another depression there, and at 17 feet 4 inches in front of the light pole, I hit something solid, which I'm thinking is another catch basin that's been buried with another plate that, it's just the way they did stuff. And it somehow gets to that catch basin that crosses under 22B. And there is one coming out of the north side of 22B that heads towards the bus garage, straight up their parking lot. We never did find an inlet, so I don't know if there's another catch basin buried somewhere. Under the blacktop, out in the ball fields, I don't know. I talked to Courtney, because the only way we're gonna know is the camera, but our system won't do that. But where do we stop, spending money on this it's gonna cost us money to solve the schools and state's problem.
Well, that's the thing, I don't know how involved we wanna get in this. It sounds awful, it's not our problem. It's a school, a state, and a private homeowner problem. My understanding is we have an easement through that.
What's that?
We have an easement through there, correct?
I don't think there's any easement.
So, not to sound crappy, why are we involved at all then?
Well, it's flooding our street is the problem. Elm Street, it's flood.
So once it floods down street, where does it go from there?
That's one that they sent the video, remember, 2 months ago.
It just can't handle what's coming at it. There's at least 3 20-inch pipes between the state and the school feeding this, and some smaller 12-inch pipe and some drain pipes. It just can't handle it. It's got to go down. And we re-ditched down the street, and actually Fuller did it. We put 200 feet of new plastic pipe, a new catch basin, 2 new catch basins with a new cross pipe. Look, we can't go any larger. We're sitting right on the gas main now. All that water's coming down, and they've got a 45. They can't do it.
So we've done everything we can, and the state's saying it's the school's problem, the school's saying.
Which it's
either
both.
we
Yeah,
or the
it's
state's
both.
problem.
And it's really both the problems, because
Of course, with DOT, you're not
over.
I mean, you're talking to these guys, but it's water count. They're not very fast to make any decision. but it's obvious they're not gonna give us any help. But I know what's gonna happen, that's where they just seeded, that's gonna all end up down there.
Yeah, the whole shoulder of the road.
There used to be an open ditch that sloped it down.
Last time it washed, it was all that shoulder off of
Yeah,
22.
yeah.
Ended up on Elm Street.
And they redid it all, but it's not gonna stay, it's,
So get us contact
They'll
numbers.
show up.
Get us contact numbers to the people you have for the state. And we already know the school contacts.
yeah.
And when that happens again, we're just gonna have to tell the residents, this is who you're gonna have to call. Because no matter what we do, Mike, I mean, we could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in engineering stuff, but we haven't created the problem, and it's not coming from from us. It's not coming from town property, it's coming from the school and coming from a state road, how they have it drained.
Yeah, and I'm gonna assume
So with our little budget like this.
where that used to
and the state
go,
budget like this.
they
I
used to
think
blow across the road, where
we need
Medors, before Medors put the house there, and it didn't hurt a thing. But now you got a house, which there's nothing wrong with having a house there, but, you know, it's not water from the town of Peru, it's water from Peru School.
And the problem is,
In
the
New
more,
York State.
the more they improve and the more they pave and everything else,
Yeah.
the faster the water's moving and it's going in one direction. And I hate to say it, the more they clean what they did over there in the curve, yes, it looks better, but it's gonna make the water move faster.
You know, they would've been better at a fabric shop,
Yeah.
that would've slowed the water down in one wash.
So. I mean, it's only my suggestion, I think Matt's at the same point, I would tell you, like this, I mean, I wouldn't get too much involved more,
No, that's fine,
I mean, as far as I'm.
Yeah, I mean, I wish there was a better solution, there's just nothing the town can do, it's not, the problem isn't occurring on town property or any town has any control over. It's washing onto our property, we've let the right people know, and they basically said, we don't care, so. At this point, the people that are the most aggrieved by this have to make noise to somebody other than the town, and see if that gets resolved. You have to get Billy Jones involved, or somebody that, that would be the next step, but once we start putting shovels in the ground somewhere, we're kind of taking on the problem as our own, when it's
Yeah.
not right now. And that's, as awful as that sounds, because you want to do what you can for your residents, we really can't do much else at this point, it stinks. I think you've done by far as much as you can. We could, like Brandon said, we could spend a ton on engineering studies, but unless there's a willingness from the school or the state to adopt them and do something about it, they're pieces of paper at that point.
Yeah, I know, the whole, you know, we all know the schools put drainage ponds in, you know, they never checked with the towns, and they just dumped it on the
Look
towns.
at the other side of the school.
Yeah, and we've already got a problem on that side.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big problem. Well, it is a big problem already.
Yeah, it's a big problem.
So,
Okay, that's, I
let-
just wanted to
let
give you an
her ask
update, and we
Let
did
her rest
look at it.
because it ain't like your budget has a lot of money in it to begin with, so. I believe you don't have any left anyway.
No, can't keep it taken.
Okay, thank you, Mike, for that update. I wish we had a better answer. I mean, we don't have a better answer when we have a small budget and the state has a monster budget. And it's really not coming from us. Yeah. Okay, so that's that. Next one, right to you again. Telegraph, culvert project update.
Yep, last Thursday, they set all the structures on the smaller, three-sided box down there. They got the wing wall pretty well set for, probably was, I was on the street most of the day. They started digging, culvert number 1, which is a huge one, 180 feet. Unfortunately, we hit ledge, quite a bit of it. He was able to peel 2 feet. I don't know if he can peel 6 feet of it, but he was getting what he could. They took the big machine out of there. Obviously it's on Elm Street because that's going to be down 22 feet. So it's still a big machine down there, but it's not as big as that one. So I'll check in the morning. I'll have a better idea. Actually, if it's solid ledge, they'll drill it, pin it. We won't have to go down another 6 feet. So it's
How many feet down was it?
actually right where I dug the test hole. What's that?
How many feet down was it? The ledge?
It was just down probably 2 feet below the bottom of the 10-foot culvert. So it's probably about 12 feet, because that culvert was fairly deep. But if there was no ledge in the wall, then you got a 5 or 6 foot wall plus a footing. So they were gonna be down fairly deep, so. But it seems to be on one side and a little bit in the other, then it misses. It'll be interesting when you get to the head wall, the outlet, because that is setting up in the air. Whether or not that's just sitting on a big flat rock, or if there was actually ledge there, we won't know until everything's excavated. But I can give you a better update on that, but it's going well for the small crew. Like I said, they're in the same boat, they can't get help. I mean, when they poured the walls, they had 3 superintendents down there. They just can't get help. It's the common denominator, unfortunately.
How big are the ledge chunks?
Huh?
How big are the ledge chunks?
Some of them are,
Can they put aside some of those bigger ones where they're dumping?
they didn't push them all over the bank
They
down
have
there.
to use them at the parks and block cars from going across the lawns.
At Sullivan,
Yeah, if they got any big stuff they could put aside.
I can buy you some.
Oh, you
I know
mean
there is some.
Hayward, don't you?
No, I've done some at Lapin's Mills I started, and Sullivan, we put some, trying to stop cars from going in and
Yeah.
blowing donuts in the fields. It's cheaper than fence. It's
Or,
free.
it does a better job than the car too.
Yeah, and you'll know who hit it, because they'll be there.
They'll be there waiting for me.
Anything else, Mike, on that?
No?
Thank you for the update. Courtney, right to you, sewer project updates.
I really don't have much. It's actually a quiet time. The lagoon's all clean. I have a meeting next month with Greg and Jen to go over all the plans for the wastewater improvements. And Elm Street started today. They started with the cross culvert today. We'll imagine they'll be on that for 2-3 days at least.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have tomorrow, we'll start paving
About that.
with, I'll say, well, Wednesday, so.
What'd you find on the other side of the road? It's the same stone structure?
They didn't go that far. They just dug to set the first structure.
There is 2 or 3 layers of sidewalk.
On that road.
3.
It's that, well, metal was there, it's that big.
2 foot thick.
Talking about sidewalk, I'm glad you brought up sidewalk. A little bit of sidewalk between TD Bank and the corner now of 22. There's a little section now because obviously the state is doing the whole corner there, so now it's down a little bit farther. That little section probably, I don't know, God, I don't even think it's 20 feet maybe. Can we look into doing that one section new, like the rest of the whole street? Because it kind of sticks out awkward.
Oh, you're talking on, when you first pull on it.
Yes, it's not very much anymore. It was longer, then it's shorter,
Yeah,
then the
yeah.
state is in there. Can we look into?
That's kind of what I'm waiting for, and that's what I was waiting for over by
Yeah.
Leon Blair's, because I want to see if they're gonna get into those AT&T manholes.
Okay.
Because that's,
Yeah, if we could look at that, because a couple of residents called me today about that, just to see, said, Randy, I know the state's, well, they didn't know it was a state, they thought it was a town. They said, the town there today, can you see if they can continue that little bit? And I said, it's not the town right now. I said, but I can ask tonight. So we can look at that little section after, when the state's done. I don't know, and it doesn't have to be this year, but at least make sure we get it on some kind of schedule to get that little part done. Anything else on that recording at all? We good, sewer? Okay, other business. Rick?
I'm good.
Jim?
Good.
Diane?
Just when the ad goes in for the recreation director, let me know.
Yep.
I wanna go.
Yeah, definitely won't do it until after the whole soccer season, everything else is already done. Because obviously that's what we have her organizing and running in basketball and everything else. Okay, anything else? Matt?
I'm good.
All set.
Kristen? Good. Helen? Good. Pam?
Can we do one more concert the first week of September
We
To
can
make
fit in
up-
weather-wise?
to make up for the one that they missed?
Yep.
C3.
C3. Yep. My opinion is have as many as we can have down there. Obviously, it's people out. It's been, this summer's been unbelievable, great again. And I say yes.
The only thing is we should start it at 5.
I was just gonna ask you that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that'd be the first Sunday of the month, Labor Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they can do a Labor Day weekend, I'm doing it, if they can. You guys good with it?
Yep.
Yeah. It's the one they missed to begin with, so. Okay. So,
Yesterday was great.
yeah,
They were very
yeah.
good.
Did the church get down there yesterday?
Mhm.
Did they? Okay, good. Yeah, they asked me and I said, great idea, obviously. Right. Yeah. So,
They filled the park with bubbles.
yeah. What?
I said they filled the park with bubbles.
I didn't know about bubbles. I heard ice cream and water.
She's not lying. There was a lot of bubbles.
Lots of bubbles.
They left the bubbles out when they talked to me. That I promise you. But you know what? Good for everyone. But they did say ice cream and water.
It was very good.
Good. So I do need a motion in a second to have that one extra concert for this year, because obviously it come out of our celebration. Was it is it $500? $500.
I'll make it.
It come out of our celebration account. Got all the bands. So Rick made a motion.
Second.
Second by Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Mike.
Warren Matt LaFave, he's building the grounds over the school that we were all straight salt runs, this coming winter. So they were looking at town Plattsburgh for salt sand, that was as of last week, and then he called me today, actually, it was just after the bid opening. Now they're kind of interested in the salt brine, and they're behind the ballgame trying to learn about it. But I said, you gotta really decide quick, because we're gonna start selling it, and it makes a difference on the machine we get. Because we need a filling station, you know, it adds quite a bit of money. You know, we would be more than happy to, but, you know, our idea was get this started and grow it, and get the other towns in anyway. But they are interested, I don't know what, problem is right now, that system I talked to Rick about, it's a little bit big for us, the one we liked. We couldn't get it till spring anyway, unfortunately. So I'm looking for a different system. We may end up going back and calling Granite State and see if we'd have to go through the bid because they're not in source well, where this other one was. If we had 3 storage tanks, we would be fine. That was with the money of Ball Sable, maybe using some Peru school, I don't know, that might throw a monkey wrench into it. You know, it might be too much. You might have to have another tank, I don't know. I think right now we're gonna worry about the town of Peru. I'm gonna try to find another machine comparable, but for a less price. They are coming out. And it was Henderson equipment, theirs was all stainless steel, it was self-cleaning. So there was no maintenance to it. We are gonna put it inside. We'll try to find another one that would match up. They're making a junior model, but they don't even have the mobiles for it yet. So that's looking at next spring. That would save about 20 grand. So I did call them back anyway on the bigger one, because it was like 59,000, which was 20-some thousand, but it's got a 5,000 gallon holding tank. We're gonna use 4,200 gallons in a perfect world to do every mile of road we got up and back. But that machine, you can't leave it in it. So I was thinking, that was my question, if we did away with the 3 tanks, if we could let it in there, but it'll plug everything. It'll settle, it'll get into the lines, it'll plug it, because there's nozzles. And that would have brought the price rate down with everybody else. So I'm trying to find another one right now. I did find another one. I talked to them. They're out in Minnesota. Problem is, they've been bought out by Bosch plows. And we're probably gonna lose the local dealers then for that, which will probably put it at Taylor Rental, because they're a Bosch dealer. I don't believe they're gonna get into selling salt brine makers, because you're not gonna sell that many of them. So I'm trying to find another one. Some of them are just plastic, like big plastic barrels. They're cheap. They can be one bump and they're going to be destroyed. So just to find one. So you can buy the stuff all made, but you know, it's a lot more money. But we may end up having to do that for the winter, depending on if I can find something, we're gonna have to go to bid. And then come up with the money, because Chips is paying for the part of the truck that we just approved tonight, but the tanks and the maker, they do not. They won't pay for it, so I have to find another funding agency. We got a $1,500 grant from Lake Champlain Basin, that's all we got. The rest is going to the local farmers and stuff, and then, as I explained before, us in town of Parker, the only one that did the salt reduction, Adirondack salt reduction, but they opened, the basic program opened up to all the towns, so instead of each of us getting $5 grand, we're gonna get 1,500, so we're limited, so, you know, I didn't think that was really fair, but it's good for the other towns, but it's, you know, we're the ones that signed the letter. So, I don't know, we're gonna have to either buy it pre-made or something, but I don't even have a price on that yet. Because I think the nearest dealer is Cargo, which I think is quite a ways away, so, I mean, you're gonna pay for shipping. I was told they'll give you the tank and they'll, as long as you buy the material, that would get us by for the winter, and then budget for the maker, so that's where we are with this right now.
My thought is, I'd keep away from the school, you got enough on your plate this year to
Yeah.
get all the kinks worked out on your own without.
Yeah,
And as you know, it took 5 to 7 years to do this, so it ain't gonna happen in 1 year.
Go
no,
slow.
but it would be, you know, I'd like to make our own, because if you can make it for 10, 11 cents a gallon versus probably $2, you buy it, but we may have to.
Well, they don't seem willing to try and help out Sal on anything or keep up their own properties.
I agree with Mel, though. I mean, you got enough on your
Yeah, I know,
plate.
no,
I mean, they're
but it just,
starting
and I don't even know if we find another maker, you know, because I've only talked to, well, I've talked to several, most of them, but I don't know what the time frame. Camion had one, they had some in the yard, which is Granite State, but I do not know if they still do. But that's still gonna have to go through a bidding process, because they're not on the source well.
Keep us updated, Mike. Thank you. Anything else?
No,
Mike, Courtney.
The only thing I got is,
Mike talked to you right now, right?
yeah, pretty much. It's unfortunate to lose Chris, he's an excellent employee, but I'd like to advertise ASAP.
How'd you make out with
Too long,
another?
we got a ton of work ahead of us, and I'd like to get it out there and get interviewing.
Any luck on your part-time?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, you go.
Well, today I got one application from them.
You'd be.
I haven't pushed that out too much, but now with this, we're gonna put these out on the civil service site and a couple other places and actually push them out there.
Budget.
Is everybody fine with that? If I advertise and start interviewing?
Go for it.
Because you're on the gun.
You need to make a motion second for that, advertise it later. So any motion in a second?
Maybe.
Rick made the motion, Jim second, all in favor?
Aye.
That's something that we will have to look at at budget time too, because other towns and other departments have stepped up, obviously their salaries and stuff like that. I know we talk about every year and we can do what we can do as a budget, but at the same time, you can't get workers when you're advertising part-time for what, 14 something. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not even possible to get someone for $14. You can't even get someone for $25 in Pfizer. It's crazy. So we're gonna have to look at, again, we've looked at it every year as we know, for 5 years now, and it's only getting worse. I can tell you. New York State has a big problem with hiring people and people that wanna work, I can tell you that. You go to other states, you go to any other state, and I can tell you, there's 20, 30 people working at a restaurant, 4 or 5 people waiting. It's New York is, I think we're in trouble. I don't think, I know we're in trouble. It's just unfortunately COVID gave people too much time off. And it's crazy. And it's no matter what job you do, it's like that. So anyways, with that being said, I need, next thing is public comments on agenda items only.
You're discussing having to maybe ask to go above the tax cap. Are there any particular expenses that might drive us above the tax cap?
No, we put in there, John, just because to be safe, we don't know, what could come up. with everything that's going on, with the price of everything, with Mike's budget, obviously, you know, where it is, with everything. Obviously, we know water sewer, that's been over budget with the old project that the state has made us do, obviously with the sewer. So, but that has nothing to do with the budget this year or next year. It just, we just know, yeah.
It's customary, John, like town of Scott Falls does it every year.
They do it every year.
Oh, I know, we haven't done it, that's why.
Yeah, we've done it like 5, 6 years ago we did it. I think it was the year before Pete was done and I got on. We did it because it was a bad year. We know, I can tell you one thing, we know health insurance is gonna be a double digits increase this year. So there's a big part of our budget where 2 years ago, they went down, you know, 2, 3 years ago, they went down. But I've already heard there's double digits in health insurance coming.
The fuel
And that didn't come from the health insurance people. I just know because of another employee sent me paperwork on it already and said, we're looking at a 13 to 15% increase.
You will have more
Just give it
detail,
down.
there will be more details in time for that public hearing though? As to, you know, as to
Well, we
what the
won't
cost.
know until budget time.
The public hearing is just
to put it in place.
Just give you the ability to do it if you need to.
Yeah.
It just opens the door for it, so there's no concrete information available at this time for it. It opens the door, so if you need to go over the tax cap, you have the ability, at that point, if you want to go over it, then you need the information as to who, what, where, and why. So without taking this step, you can't exceed it. This step allows you to possibly do it if you need to, when more specifics are available.
So when would you approve actually going over the tax, at a regular town board meeting?
Your regular tax or budget
During
meetings.
budget meetings.
During our budget meetings. Yeah.
So if members of the public didn't like it, they could come in and object at that time?
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
And believe me, we have no intention, but we want to put it in place because we don't know these days.
Right.
Yeah, we don't know. And Skyler Falls does every single year. They put it in place, not that they exceed it, they just put it in place.
Oh, they've never used it, but they.
They've never used it, but they
They
put it
made
in
it
place.
customary, when I talked to Donna about it, because she said, you don't do a local law every year? And I said, no, they do it automatically. They haven't used it, but it's just customary. But with it being 2% this year and not 2.5%, I've just said, to get the paperwork all done, let's just.
That's what the tax cap is, 2%?
2% this
Yeah.
year.
And it was
Okay.
2.5,
Yeah.
so.
Last year. Yeah. Okay.
It's pretty low with all the inflation.
Yep, that's why we put it in place,
That's why it's getting put in place.
just in case. Public, any more? Public comments? Okay, moving along. Need a motion and a second to pay the bills.
Make it.
David Douglas,
Second.
Mel,
The resolution authorizing the post audit payment of certain claims, bills, and invoices of the town, whereas the town board has reviewed and audited the following claims, bills, and invoices for services rendered and goods provided to the town in August 2022, from town approved vouchers in August 2022, number 2022-001-035, through and including number 2022-01099, abstract dated August 17, 2022, for the dollar amount totaling $149,769.38. Of that, $13,907.39 was wired to credit cards and prepaid, and $135,861.99 is remaining to be paid. And whereas the town board finds said claims, bills, and invoices to be acceptable in form and reasonable amount, now therefore be resolved the payment of the aforementioned claims, bills, and invoices is approved, and the supervisory meeting hereby is authorized to make such payment. Review further resolve that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno? He's not here. Mr. Irwin?
here.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
And Mr. McDonald?
Yes. Okay. Number 20, I don't have anything, Matt doesn't have anything, you guys don't have anything, so we need this to table number 20, executive session. Need a motion second?
Make it.
Rick? Second. Al? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make it.
Jim? Second.
You
Mel?
can right there at the end.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm hungry.